We left yesterday's episode with these hatch covers, and I may be blocking your light just a little bit here. Put the blade right up against the edge. There we go. There isn't much holding that on. Oh, kind of dented that one. Oh, that's too bad. Wonder if I should be maybe nipping them from the other side. There'd be less chance of bending this down. Maybe that's what I'll try to do. Flip it over and do the other side. Okay, this is the same three. There's very little tab involved here. Okay, there's three different types here. The top row is all the same. These two are the same, and these two are the same. And they are mirror image to each other. So they could have got away with using just 3 different numbers instead of 8 different numbers. I cannot see any difference between any of these on the top row. And because the differences are just so subtle that when I get them glued in place, you can see the little hinges on the bottom here, okay? And when I get them all glued in place, you're not going to notice that. I mean, the CA glue is probably going to cover over some of these little tiny cracks here. Anyway, we now have all the pieces necessary for step 24, both photo etch and plastic. Now, I know they're not trimmed up yet, and I know they're not painted yet, but I flipped the page to see what we were going to get here, and it's not a whole lot of extra stuff that has to be, like we've already got the 37 millimeter AA guns, 2 for the stern and 2 for the bow. There will be some ladders that we have to find. There's these L37s, they're little plastic parts. I'm just wondering if I shouldn't be going ahead and getting these parts and getting them trimmed and painted. The reason being is because this will be the last of little parts. I'll show you what I mean here. When we get to step 26, okay, we're starting to fool around with the big stuff. And I know that's not too clear, but yeah, I think that maybe what I should be doing here is looking for the parts for step 25, because there's so few of them, and then get them all trimmed up and all painted, and then do step 24 and 25 sort of together. Now there's some photo etch here that's optional, and I was looking at this, and I don't think I'm going to be using that. I'm going to snip it off the sheet anyway, and it's got something to do with covering the catapult, but it just doesn't seem to make any sense. Unless it's some kind of armor plating that maybe was used to protect the catapult. I don't know what it was all about. Maybe once it's snipped off and sort of laid in place, we'll be able to tell what it was. But right now it doesn't make any sense, and I don't think I'll be using it. Okay, for step 25 here, what do we need in the way of plastic parts that we don't already got? Well, it says that there's intakes here. Now, these intakes, we got those way back in step number 5, and they're done. But there's these L37s that I was talking about, and it looks like we need 7 of those, and as near as I can tell, that's the only plastic parts that we don't have, because we've already got the AA guns. Okay, here we go, L37. It looks like there's 4 of them on this sprue. And there should be at least 3 more on the other one. I wonder what these are supposed to be. Okay, so that is the underside. They got little knobs there, pins rather, to key in on the deck so you don't get it in the wrong place. But they look a lot like the air intakes 3 that we made up. They're probably some kind of an air thing. At least that's what I'm guessing. We need photo etch B, 7, 8, and 12. And this is so big, I won't be needing the macro lens. Oh, I missed one here. I am pretty sure that what this is for is these would go over top of the catapult and sort of bridge the gap between the 2 deck houses, so that people could walk easily from one to the other. I think that's what it's all about. But then if I put those on, we're not going to see the catapult. And I think that would be far more interesting. That's probably why they made it optional. By the way, this is C5. And we need 2 of these. I'll just spin it around and get these other 2. Now, I don't know if this is going to work or not. I already shaped this one, as you can see. What is about to happen here could have been really disastrous, but as it turns out, I got away with it. Yeah, I just wasn't holding things properly. I was trying to hold it so that the camera could see it. Well, that's my excuse anyway. Well, that didn't go quite as planned. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to angle each one of those little steps so that it will look like this. Now I know it looks like I'm a complete klutz here, but I'm trying to do this in front of the camera. Okay, I think you get the idea how this goes. I'm going to do the last 5 or 6 up close to my face so that I don't accidentally damage something here, but you can see what happens. Makes it look like stairs. I'll be the first to admit that in all likelihood not all those treads are at the exact same angle, but you know, of a little man who was only 1/200th the size of a normal person came to those stairs, I think he could probably, get up them pretty good. Okay, I think you get the idea. When you know what something is, it really helps to be able to position it into place and, just understand what it's all about. Like, obviously, this is a stairway, and it goes down this hole right here. Now this thing here, when I was looking at it, I thought, that looks like it maybe is supposed to cradle the bottom of the boat. And what I should have thought was, it's to cradle the bottom of a float. And one of the viewers set me straight on that. And then it made perfect sense. And what happens is, you take this piece and you'll notice that there's a bit of a hole there. Well, you plug it into that hole, and the same thing here and here and here, and then the 2 floats of the aircraft will sit in this little cradle here. Now, somebody suggested, why not, if I can get this to drop, why not position the hatch so it has the detailed side up in the open position, as long as there's room here to do so, and I think there will be. Once we get the deck housing over here, then we'll be able to tell, but I think there will be room there, and that will look really great, I think. And then the aircraft will be mounted, one of them that is, will be mounted on this cradle thing. And of course it's in here where the catapult goes. Yeah. So I just found that out. I just checked my comments. I should, my computer should read them to me as soon as I get them. But of course it doesn't. Alexa, read me my comments, Well, maybe that's coming. Now, what I had planned on doing was taking my little ladder here and trying to position it down the hole. But what would happen if I accidentally dropped it? Oh my goodness, if it went down that hole, I probably couldn't fish it back out. I don't know, maybe it would fall into the larger area and I could shake it out. At least I hope that's what would happen. Perhaps what I should be doing is putting a string around it. Anyway, it's supposed to go down something like this. I don't know why it goes at that angle, but that's the angle that the plan shows it. Anyway, we'll worry about that later. I only want to have to do this once. Now, as long as we're talking about these stairs or gangway, this one goes down inside the ship. Doesn't it make sense to you that it would be painted a lighter color? Like maybe even white? After all, I would think you'd want the inside of the ship as light as possible. Don't need to worry about the enemy seeing the inside of the ship. Once the enemy sees the inside of the ship, it's game over. Now, you'll remember I was saying it really helps when you know what something is. Now, I have just found out what these are. One of the viewers let me know. And I have since actually found pictures of them, but I still wouldn't have known if he hadn't have told me. Almost all of us guys that are a little older, we've all had rifles. And I used to have a set of cleaning rods. And what these are containers that contain the cleaning rods for the guns. And yeah, it's a bunch of rods, and they were joined together, and you know how to clean a rifle. I've had a .22, an old Lee Enfield 303, and a 30-06. I can't remember the brand anymore. I never did get any real high-powered stuff, though. Anyway, yeah. Mind you, I've since changed my view on hunting. I think let the poor wild animals live. That's the way I feel about it. I know there's arguments both ways, but I guess I've grown up. Now, don't be offended if you're a hunter. That doesn't mean I would stop fishing, although I haven't gone fishing for a long time. Anyway, yeah, so I'm going to have to spend the next, I was going to say a few minutes, but it's probably going to be a couple hours getting all of the sprue and flashing off of this. Like you'll notice on this one right here, there's a little thing on the top. Well, I was wondering, is that supposed to be there, or is that flashing? Well, I now believe that is flashing, and it's got to come off of there. Oh my, a bird just flew into my window. Poor thing. It flew away, so I guess it's all right. Anyway, yeah. So, I don't know if there's going to be any more on this video today because, like I say, I'm going to be busy. A bunch of little parts here yet have to be done, and where it's visible, I want to try and do as nice a job as I can and get the flashing off the top. I won't worry about the underside, but I'll try. Well, I guess this is the underside. Yeah, this would be the top side. I'll get it right. Don't worry, when it comes to mounting it on the ship, I'll get it right. As I was editing out this scene that you're looking at right now, I was sort of checking it over. You know, I was wondering, is the exposure on the outside matching the exposure on the inside, and all kinds of stuff like that guys like me do. And then I thought, you know, I wonder if when the little bird hit the window, did it make a mark on the glass? So I got up from my Sherman tank of chairs and went and took a look. Yeah, when I can sit up like this, it's a lot easier on my neck. And I couldn't find anything. And I thought, well, that's odd. So I looked at the other window, it's the one to the left that you can't see, and there was what appeared to be a little feather. I thought, oh, that's where it hit. Still loving these Tamiya nippers. And I walked over to the window, and you know what? Get out the Kleenex, folks. I'm going to have to give you the bad news. I guess the bird that I saw flying away was not the bird that hit the window, because just about 2 feet away from the house, well, there was our little bird. Now that's kind of sad, eh? Yeah, well, that's life. Death is part of life. Comes to us all. Now this is one of those cylinders that contains the cleaning rods for the cannons, or the main guns. And you'll notice that there's a seam running across the top there that I haven't taken off yet, and of course there's a couple of pieces of sprue yet. Now, along the side closest to you, you'll notice there's another seam, but that stays, and once you know that this thing opens up, it's like a case. And these little bumps along the side, well, what they are is some sort of latches and hinges. And I guess the thing just sort of, you know, opens up longitudinally. And yeah, just thought I'd mention that. So if you know what something is, you don't accidentally remove something that is part of the detail. Oh, by the way, I measured it, and I did the math. And when you multiply this thing out by 200, it comes out to about 17.5 feet long. This is that same piece after the flashing was scraped off the top. And you can see here where the sprue was nipped off. It's a little discolored, and maybe over here I maybe could have scraped a little better, but I think once this is all painted, for one thing, you're not going to see the discoloring. I think it's going to look okay. Anybody that notices this will just think probably it's another one of these bumps. Well, that is really it for today, folks. I got to quickly do the final edit and get this uploaded to YouTube. So thanks for watching, and all being well, we'll see you tomorrow.